Okay, so I am trying to go live with my single mother, Betty. However, we are having technical difficulties with her joining. It is some Wi-Fi connection issues. And I can't tell if it's on my end or her end. But she had a great story to tell you guys, and I wanted her to share her experience with other single moms on the platform. So hopefully Betty can come in and we can chop it up. Okay, let me go live.
Okay, hey, I'm back.
Yeah, you
Is it
sound
gonna
like a
pause?
robot.
No. Okay, let me get out.
No, it's okay. Okay, now you sound better.
Okay, good, good.
I can hear you. Just keep on talking. If you can hear me, that's good. But I am just
Okay.
going to start off with our background, give people a little bit of background on how we met. So I met Betty when
Okay.
I was working. We were desk buddies, and I was working at a company during the darkest point of my life where I already knew what I had to do in the midst of transitioning to another state. And she was my desk buddy, and we connected from work. Like right there, like on my left hand side, her desk is right there. And after you spend time with somebody day after in, working with somebody, you get to know them. And, we went to lunch together. We talked about things. We talked about life outside of work and things like that. And our relationship grew. She encouraged me with this move. And I never lost contact with her. Betty always been there. So I want her to share her experience as being a single mom. Hopefully you guys can get something from it. And the most part I got from Betty's experience, my little nugget, is that you keep going. Like no matter what,
Yeah.
you don't stop nothing. You gonna have to figure it out some way. Something has to give. And I love her tenacity with the hardships and struggles she's been through. It's not my story to tell, so I'm not gonna tell her business. I want her to share what she wants to share. And Betty, just start off with tell the people how many kids you have. You can tell them their age if you
Mm.
want, their gender, and then go on and say where were you at when we met and how far you came to where you at now. So within the last 4 years, I think that's a good,
Yeah.
snippet for you to tell people, what you've been through because that's how I met you. I don't remember you nothing prior to the 4 years, but yeah, so I think that's a
Mhm.
starting point. I forget. I think you got 3 kids, but you could tell your story. Introduce
It,
yourself, and you can just tell your story.
yeah. Okay, so like you said, we're desk buddies at a job that we were both struggling at together.
Hmm.
You met me with 3 kids, and then I popped up pregnant all of a sudden, and then 4. When you left, I was still pregnant, but yeah, we were confiding into each other every time we come in to work because we were like both stressed. The money was short. Our lives were in, well, not in shambles, but we were struggling. We were like living paycheck to paycheck basically,
Yes.
and also we were living our living situations were, I don't want to say similar, but kind of the same. We both had our kids and basically in a small ass apartment or a small ass room and just struggling just to make ends meet,
That
paycheck to
was
paycheck.
when that's why I said it was the darkest point of my life because
Mhm.
me and my kids were in a 1 bedroom sleeping on an air mattress. A lot of people don't know. Before I came to Texas, I wouldn't say homeless, but I didn't have my stuff together before I made
Mhm.
that transition. So me and my kids, and when I say like the darkest, like I have not been that low in my life since then. And I'm thankful that I'm not, at that stage of my life anymore. But when I like look back hindsight 2020, like damn, I did that. And knowing I had to get up and go to
Mhm.
work every day and coming back to that bedroom, that I had to make
Right.
my home.
Yep. And I
Yeah.
was in a similar situation too. 1 bedroom apartment, which cost like kind of like the mortgage of a freaking like 3 bedroom house out in Texas. My
Yes.
rent was, yeah, basically a freaking mortgage out in SD. Well, I was living in North San Diego County, and you were living in South San Diego County, Southeast.
Mm-hmm.
and it's a struggle just to be living here in California, San Diego. We kind of have like similar stories. We were somebody that wasn't really contributing to
Yeah.
the household, which was making it even harder. Um, just to live here in San Diego County, you have to have a two-income household just to make ends meet. Now, being a single mother with mouths to feed and also trying to get all the benefits that you can at a job or even trying to ask the county for help, it's kind of hard, especially when you're a full-time job mother as well. They will shut you down, and which makes it even harder and more stressful. Um, Money was scarce, food was scarce, um, especially the rent, and you want extra room for your kids, and that's and
Yeah.
just being in one room because everybody wants their space, they want their privacy, and it just no, it it was hard. And also, just trying to get more income, it was even harder, especially as a single mother. Like in consideration, um, who's going to take care of the kids while you're working as well,
Yes.
and that's a struggle right there. And
Yeah.
also, yeah, you were there to help me at one point and I was basically homeless at one point too, and I didn't have anywhere to go. And that's also a life lesson learned, experience learned, and we only learn from our mistakes. Even though it's negativity, each day we both came in with our head up, held up high.
Yeah.
There was no room for us to come in with a sad face and mope around or anything like that. You were always a ray of sunshine at the office, and nobody knew your struggle. Nobody knew my struggle except for you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and that's the only thing you can do. You got to put your best face forward and just keep it chucking because nobody else is going to be there for you except for yourself. And also
Yeah.
another thing we both learned, since we got nobody on our side and it's just us, and then you have dependents looking up to you and you have to look after them, you got to take care of yourself. You got to take time to have your me time to take care of yourself because there's
Yes.
not going to be anybody to take care of you. And if
Yes.
there's nobody, and if you don't take care of yourself, who's going to take care of the little ones that you got?
Yep.
Nobody.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Betty,
So
and then too, like, what were you telling yourself when you were going through the struggle to keep you day by day, to keep you sane? What were you telling yourself so you wouldn't fall lower? What were you telling yourself each and every day?
I was telling myself, well, there was a lot of things I was telling myself to myself. I would beat
Yeah.
myself up about it a lot of times at home. There were some sad nights where I was thinking, like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I in this position? Why?
Yeah.
Because I kept thinking about everybody else, which I shouldn't be thinking about everybody else. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to be thinking about you. They're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
only thing that kept me going and just thinking to myself, like, okay, I got these three kids, and this one along coming along the way. They don't know how to, you know, live for themselves. They don't know how to take care of themselves. They got me, and that's who I looked up to. I looked up to myself. Okay, look, you gotta check it. You gotta figure it out. You gotta just work your ass off. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Even
Yeah.
if one door closes, the other one's gonna open regardless at the end of the day as well.
Yes. And that's what I learned from you because you were in these situations where some, like, it will just happen last minute. A come through will just always happen for you. And that's like
Mhm.
so fucking good because right before you about to like say fucking I give up, something happens and a door will open for you all the
Yep.
time. And I noticed
Yep.
I'm all like, girl, everything's gonna be okay. It happened before, it's gonna happen again. And I remember
Yep.
us having that conversation. So and then it's so crazy how we get put in positions where we have no other choice but natural instinct is to keep going.
It's
We don't
the
have time
natural
to like
mother,
really think.
mama bear instinct in you to keep it chucking.
Yeah.
Even if you're at your lowest, shittiest point, down to the point where you're homeless in a shelter. I remember there was one point we ended up at a shelter, and I told myself, nope, not anymore. This is not for us. This is not us. No, and it wasn't comfortable. You got to get out of your comfort zone so you can keep it moving forward as well. And that's another thing I learned
Yeah.
from you. You got out of your comfort zone and you made that jump. I was
Yes.
like, you were like, I still remember the
I
day,
was
like, girl,
nervous
I'm
as
gonna
fuck, but
leave.
I
I'm
did
like, no,
it.
you're not. And you did it. You did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I was nervous as hell, but I did it because I was more curious about what if I didn't do it. I did because I knew if I didn't do it, I was going to be in that same situation. So I knew if
Mhm.
I did do something, it will be a chance that something might change. Something's going to have to give because I changed
Mhm.
my environment. So that's why I did it. I was like,
Exactly. It's
dang,
the
it's like a
environment and
gamble,
your
you know, it's
mindset.
a gamble.
Yep.
It was
Yep.
definitely
It's your
was a
environment
gamble.
and your mind. And also talked about mindset. When it comes to work and especially with finances, money, and if it's only
Mhm.
just one income, and if you don't get any help from the county because you're a full-time mom, you don't make below a certain amount, you're gonna be shit out of luck. They're not gonna help. Okay, so you got to think about that. Okay, so you got to live within your means, and also, yeah, live within your means. And even if you get a raise, you got to think, okay, you got to think frugal as well. You're not going to go out there and splurge onto the next outfit or get into the next newest car, whatever, because you're going to be getting back in that same position that happened back then. That's what happened to
Mm,
me. Yeah, everything comes and goes. Fashion changes. You don't need to go out there to get the newest bag or the like most hip shoes or clothes or whatever, because things change. Like no, like until you make it and
yeah,
break it, then that's when you can splurge on yourself. Once you
yeah,
build your nest egg, that's another thing I learned also through another friend that introduced me. It's a couple that introduced me to Prime America. You gotta live within your means, because what if that one day you end up getting sick and you got nobody else as a backup or income? Who
yes,
are your kids going to go for? Like, and also if I were to get sick and I were to kick the bucket, that's another thing that got me going. Like the
yes.
what if yep, yep, yep. That's one thing that would always get me sad. Who's going to be there for my kids? That's one thing that would always push me to get, going and just making the
Yeah,
change and
yeah,
get out of
and
the comfort
you
zone.
focus, and then you focus on yourself. You want to make sure you're okay as a woman. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you want to make sure mentally you're okay because too.
Yeah.
And then don't do this because I did it too. I noticed that I would sometimes lash out at my kids if I had a stressful day or if I had a lot on my plate,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not my baby's fault. It's not my baby's fault. I had a bad day. You know what I mean? It's not my baby's fault that I just want to curl up in the bed and don't want to get out and don't want to cook. That's not my baby's fault. So somewhere I had
Mm-hmm.
to find the strength to push through that and give them and just say, I need my space. Mommy needs her space. Give me 20
Mm-hmm.
minutes, because it's not fair to the kids. And I
Yeah, and
found
that's
myself
yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, self-care
Then
is important. Your mental space also is important, big time. If you're not all there mentally, not gathered, it's going to show in your day-to-day life. It's going to show in your work. It's going to show in your family life as well. And your kids pick up on your energy too. And you don't want your kids picking up on the
yeah,
energy. It's hard. I snap every once in a while or almost every day because they like to push buttons, but not like how it used to be, how I used
yeah,
to be back then. Yeah, because when you're stressing and doors are closing, yeah, you're gonna be. It's
yeah.
hard. It's hard being a single
It's
mom when you
and
don't
it,
really
it's
have a
like
backup.
it's like survival. Like you're gonna die, so you're trying to find your survival. How you're gonna survive? You're gonna run. You're gonna fight.
Hmm.
You're gonna curl up in a ball. It's
Hmm.
how it react to stress. And I noticed
Yeah.
that, and then I got into the habit of observing my thoughts. So I knew,
Hmm.
okay, I feel like I'm gonna have like a stressful moment right now. Why am I stressed? What's my checkpoints? Let me breathe, count to five. Everything is fine. I need to chill out. It's gonna be okay. That bill is not due today. It's due 2 weeks from now. Why am I worrying about that bill? You see
Yeah,
what I'm
and
saying?
that's another thing about your bills too. About bills, you see like the due dates here, this amount is due. You got to remember all these other companies, there's going to be resources that are going to be out there to help you. You just got to look for it. Don't just sit there and mope around, oh, poor me, and feel sorry for yourself. You got to push and check it and actually ask for the help. A closed mouth is not going to get fed if you're not going to be asking for help as well.
Yeah,
Also, when
and
you're having a
you're
stressful
not
day.
afraid to ask for assistance. Like, I'm hungry, me and my kids are struggling. I'm
Mhm.
at a homeless shelter. What can you do for me? You know what I mean? You're not
Yeah,
ashamed. You can't be embarrassed. It's live or die, like survival mode. You
yeah,
know?
mhm. Yeah. You got to do what you got to do for your kids, your mama bear, because they got nobody else but you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, to take care of
yeah.
them and to provide for them. And it's really, really sad that a lot of women don't have that tenacity. They're not willing to do that. Why? Because they're
Mhm.
worrying about what somebody else's thinks or what somebody else is gonna say
Exactly.
and what somebody else's
Yeah,
judgment's gonna be. You know, and
yeah,
that's a horrible situation to be in, you know. So
it is.
hopefully women can get the confidence and get the strength and get the mental toughness to go out there and do what they have to do and ask
Yeah,
for
because at the end
help.
of the day, it's for your
Like,
kids,
yes.
and they got to remember that it's not for you, it's for your kids and
Yeah.
for your own well-being too. And also,
Yeah.
you don't really need, like a mom that's struggling, you don't really need to tell anybody else what your struggles are, because you can always like there's the internet. The internet's there to stay. You can always go on there and look for resources. I hit that point when I was really struggling for food. I didn't get the help or whatever. Food banks. There's a lot of food banks, a lot of resources out there, even schools, churches. You got multiple resources. You don't have to really depend on your family member or a significant other, because at the end of the day, they're not looking for your best interest. Even with family, that's what sucks too. Like
Yeah.
they'll turn their backs on you too, in my experience.
Yeah. 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 And and that's where I think that hopefully you get to the point, Betty, where you can go see a therapist and help you with your trauma and what you've been through,
Hmm.
and help
Yeah.
you like clear out that space, so you can
Yeah.
have more space for your kids or for yourself, or fill that space up with positivity. I have a therapist that I try to see once a week, and she gives me the outside version looking in, and she really like checks
Mhm.
me and tells me, okay, you can't control nobody but you, Andrea. Like, you can't control what they say, what they think, what they do. All you
Mhm.
can do is control you and how you react to the bullshit.
That's another thing. That's another thing I learned is how I react. I
Yes.
bit my tongue so many. To this day I still bite my tongue in a lot of things, and I don't, you know, react to a lot of the problems because it's going to be out of our control. And if you do react, and especially when you're in an angry mindset, and whatever you do in that angry mindset, and said is after all is said and done, you can't take back those actions that you already done. That's another thing that I learned also is controlling your anger, controlling your emotions, and just just have some you time. Just
Yeah.
think about it. Just calm down, stay quiet, and because tomorrow's gonna be a new day, and you're gonna be in a
Yeah.
whole different
Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah.
That's one thing I learned. I
Tomorrow
shut down instead of reacting. Yeah.
tomorrow you're gonna have another chance to have a good day.
Yes. To always. There's always tomorrow. There's always going to be a new day. That's another thing I learned. Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's a lot of things, Andrea. Like I can keep on going, and I just have a whole bunch of different thoughts going on in my head, but I just don't know how to spit it out. But one thing I did learn after you took that initiative to go get your. I still remember the day, like, Betty, I'm gonna leave. I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not gonna leave. You had your kids packed up, your minivan packed up, you had your little U-Haul packed up in the back. And I'm like, oh shit, she's really doing it. She made the
Yes.
jump. She got out of her comfort zone and she did it. Because I
Yes.
still remember, Tampa Skyline. I'm like, oh shit, you're actually leaving for freaking Texas and you did it.
I know.
You did
I
everything
know.
online. Oh my God, Andrea. I was surprised. And everybody else was like, what the hell just happened? Like, did she just really leave? Yeah, she sure did. Like, she did leave.
I did. Yeah, I did. Crazy. Oh my gosh, you got good memory. Yes, I literally packed up what can fit in that van. Like, everything else I didn't care about. Whatever can fit in that van, I'm taking.
Yeah. Yeah, because everything can get replaced. Everything material you can always get replaced. Yeah.
Right, right.
So with that, you inspired me like, okay, I gotta get my shit together. I gotta hurry up. I'm not gonna be spending money on like foolishness. I'm not gonna be like hanging out with so and so because that's just foolishness. That's just gonna get you broke. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm just gonna stay in my own little bubble with my kids and just stay home most of the time because it gets expensive. You got kids, you got to think about, you got rent, a roof over your head to think about, your electricity, your water, your food, and any other things that come up like your maintenance to your car,
Yeah.
just everyday life expenses. And you really got to think also where you're living at. Like, is it really a good fit for you? Is it really a good fit like for your paycheck? Are you going to be like, after you pay your rent, how much are you going to have left over? Like, you got to think about that too. And so,
And save.
yeah, yeah, that's another thing. Like, if whatever money I have left over, I'm going to act broke and act stingy with it and put it away. And whatever's left over, okay, I'm broke for the week or I'm broke for the next 2 weeks because I already like stashed everything, so I won't be able to take it out. You know, like those bank
Yeah.
accounts where you can't like take money out because you already stashed it away or they're gonna penalize you. That's what I've been doing,
Yeah.
stacking up that money because you gotta think about retirement. You gotta think about as you're getting older. Us as women, we're getting older.
Yes.
And yeah, that's another thing. You gotta think about your
Yeah.
nest egg, and that's one thing that you got my head taken around with. Like when you left, I'm like, oh shit, she really did it. She got, she did it for the better. And you left me crying, Andrea. How dare you? I was pregnant and crying.
Aw. If you ever want to come out, you can, girl.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I gotta check out
Texas
that
is
Texas.
big. If you
Yeah,
ready, it's just gonna be you and your babies, a fresh new start. I'll help you.
yeah.
I'm here for you if you ready to make that
And then there's
transition.
also somebody new. There's somebody new. Say hi, babe. But yeah, but that's another thing. I was
Hey.
single. I was single for a while, because that other person just left me for the worst. Like they
Yeah.
took advantage of me. They would steal from me,
Yeah.
and that was pretty low of that person to do that because they were basically stealing food out of their own kids' mouth.
Yeah.
That was pretty jacked up, and it left me in a financial rut. My credit all messed up, and I'm rebuilding. I'm rebuilding again, um, for the better. You just got to think about yourself. It's okay to be selfish.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
one thing I learned. It's okay to be selfish, especially when you're a mom. It's okay to be selfish because you're thinking about your little cubs and yourself and your well-being and your own little home, your own little sacred space. That's it. No
Hmm.
toxic energies. You just gotta look out for the red flags. No more. Just cut the foolishness. That's what I learned. I cut the foolishness. Nope, there's no room for it, and especially when we're getting older, there's no room for it. You gotta think mature. You
That's
gotta
right.
grow up,
That's
especially
right.
when you got kids. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, there
That's
you
right.
have
That's
it.
right.
Yep. So ever since you left, you left the mark on me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get my shit together. I'm gonna just do what you did. Just
When
get
you're
out of that
ready in due
comfort.
time. So where are you at right now? What's your goals? What you trying to
Okay.
do?
So now,
What's next with Betty? What's up?
okay, what's next? Okay, so ever since I hit that rock bottom, homeless, made it to a shelter, homeless, living in a hotel for like I want to say like a good 6 months on a resort as well. It got expensive, really expensive. I was applying everywhere for an apartment or even houses, and I couldn't really get one because my credit was all shot. So thank God I got somebody that helped me out, to co-sign for me, and I'm starting all over again. Got myself a 2-bedroom apartment for myself and the kids. Um, got a new job that pays more. That's another thing. Don't get too comfortable at one job. You got to keep on looking. Even though you landed supposedly a dream job, always think that there's going to be another job, another step above that one. And you got to keep on calling it your dream job every single time you're looking for more.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever settle
Mm-hmm.
for less in the job industry. You got to know
Don't
your
get
worth. You
comfortable.
got to,
Yeah.
yeah, don't. That's one thing I learned also when you left. I told myself, you know what? I got way too comfortable where I was at. I was like
Yeah,
9 years
you did.
plus at that company. I got way too comfortable, and you even brought it up to my attention. I'm like, you know what? They don't really give out raises here. Like you're asking. I even remember you kept on asking, like the supervisor at the time. You kept on asking, like, to I guess to teach you on to the next level in the position that we were in, but they were lagging it. No, you were looking for something way better that is open for more opportunities. That's one thing. That's one thing I did learn, is to have an open mind. Do not get comfortable. That was my big mistake, is getting comfortable at one place, because everything was so familiar, everything was so much of a routine. That's another thing. Don't get into a habit of doing the same old routine over and over again, because it's not gonna give you the room for growth and within yourself as well, for those skills and experiences and job sets that you're trying to achieve, especially when you have kids, because you got to be able to grow and get the money at the end of the day. That's one thing I remember, is that you got out of your comfort zone, and that's what I did. I got out of my comfort zone, because it was a dead end spot for me. The same pay, the same thing day in, day out. So I made the jump, got into another job, got my apartment. Now I'm saving money, and then I've been looking at so many ads online, magazines, even on social media, I've been seeing like little ads like for houses. People have been buying there and purchasing their homes, their dream home for their little family. So that's the next step. So, and also, since I landed in this other job, I'm already looking for another opportunity that will pay more and have more opportunity for me to grow within that field. So
good for you, Betty.
that's
I'm
a work
so
in
happy.
progress.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
and you
good.
inspired me to go shoot for my home. I'm like, damn, girl, once I saw the picture, I'm like, wait a minute, did she just buy a home? But
Yeah,
that's what
I
I want
did.
for my family. And that's also an investment. I've always been telling everybody that are close to me, like getting a home is like an investment and a nest egg for your kids, especially like if God forbid, if I were to pass away, I have that home for my kids so they can rely on. I also have life insurance for my kids to rely on if anything were to happen to me, because that's one thing that's always ticking through my head are the what ifs. That, and just showing them from my mistake, not to do the same financial mistake I did.
Right.
And showing them not to do the same mistakes in life that I did as well. I'm always on them, like, don't do this, don't do that, please, 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 this and this and that. But at the end of the day, they are who they are, and they just gotta follow and see all the crap that I did.
Let your
just grow
kids
from it.
be kids, though. Let them
Yeah.
develop their individuality and personality. Because we don't want to, make them be what they're not. So I give my kids that leeway in that space. Still guide them, parent them, but yeah. I'm gonna wrap it up, Betty. Okay. That was it. That's what I wanted you to do. What
Sorry, I
that
couldn't give
was
you more because it gets stage fright.
Any last words for the single moms out there that might need some guidance, some help? What is one thing that you can bless them with? Your words. One thing.
Speak up. Speak up. That was my biggest mistake. I would always be quiet and shy about it.
Do not suffer in silence, ladies. Do not suffer in silence. Ask for help.
Yep. Always speak up, because a closed mouth is not going to get fed. And always reach out for resources. If you're too embarrassed to go reach out to family or friends because you don't want them knowing your situation, always look online, because there's a whole bunch of resources. Churches, schools, they have so many links and addresses where you can go to and just get the help that you need.
Yeah.
Yep. And get out of your comfort zone. Don't fall into a freaking routine. That was my biggest mistake. Yep.
Okay, Betty. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining me on my Single Mother Foundation platform. Be sure to let people know you did a one-on-one with me, and go ahead and like this video, share this video. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Thank you.
It on my thing? Oh, Andrea.
Bye, Betty.